don't be wanting men to cry because then I don't feel protected.
So my last ex, he cried.
You like it? I would like to be better about that, you know? Like, I don't want to see. I don't know.
I don't mind them crying, though. I think they should be able to be vulnerable.
I do. I think men should be able to cry and be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But for some reason, once they cry, you know what happens to me? I turn into the man.
No, you met the right wrong one.
When they cry, I be like, I be like that, like.
It depends what they're crying about. So if they had a death in their family,
if we both cry,
if their mom passed,
I get it, family. Oh, I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about like if something don't go their way, like a cry.
Oh no.
But like if someone die in your family and things like that, then
what if having a bad
and you know, like having a bad, like I just don't be want men to cry because then I don't feel protected.
But I feel like this. So my ex would cry if something happened. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I think men should be vulnerable if they're going through something.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you think that?
Yeah, I think they.
So we're going to get the first thing out of the way really quick. The part where she says she turns into a man. K. Michelle is a very damaged woman. And I'm not a guy who just says bullshit and just be trying to project shit on the chicks. No. She made a song called Can't Raise a Boy. She's on record saying she thinks men are bad people, like all men. And then she has some trauma, which has caused a lot of this trauma with men that she has spoken about and unpacked. So with that, she's not a normal woman with normal experiences. She has a high degree of trauma, and most women aren't like this. Most women don't turn into men, you know. There are some who do, but that's not normal. So we're not going to unpack that. You know, you could do your research on her misandry, if you will. Let's get to the, if a man cries, I don't feel protected. Let's get to that first. I appreciate the honesty. I'm going to be honest. I appreciate the honesty because this is the thing. We're logical. They're emotional. We all feel, and I would like to think we all think, but when it comes down to it, women feel and then react. They feel stronger than we do. That's just what it is. They are emotion-based. So with that being said, they can't help how they feel. They cannot help how they feel. And the thing about how they feel, they usually don't have much self-control. How they feel determines and dictates what they think and how they react. They really feed into their feelings quite a bit, most women, if we being honest. So with that being said, that's something that you just have to accept as a guy. That if you cry around a woman and it's outside of and even then, when women say that, like the whole like, oh, it's okay for a guy to cry at a funeral and stuff like that, that is a formality. That is something to where, from a logical standpoint, she can understand that this is extremely traumatic as far as, a loved one dying. And from a moral standpoint, from a socially moral standpoint, that is the right thing to say because it makes them not look like pieces of shit. But the truth is, once they see you cry, they can't unsee it. They can't unsee it. The circumstance is not going to change what they see and how they feel about what they see. Even though they would like to comfort you and say the right thing when the camera is rolling and even say the right thing to their girlfriends, so they don't look like pieces of shit. It's the same thing, from a logical standpoint. They could tell themselves, like, even if they feel what they feel, they could tell themselves, like, cause it's smart. Like, you see the social situation, you see the environment, you see the circumstance. Like, you gotta try. They'll try and find it in their self to excuse it, but they're still gonna feel what they feel. Now, this is the thing. So when you see guys really put that wall up, when you see guys really turn into stone and be stoic and things like that, this is the reason that they do it. Because at the end of the day, you have to be the rock for the family. Men know this. You have to be the rock for your girl. You have to be the rock for your kids, And the thing about it is, you do not want them to see that weakness. You just don't. Because even for the kids, that'll make them panic and, you know, think things are wrong and like, what the fuck, you know. But for the woman especially, when she sees that, she's going to perceive it as weakness and, oh, he can't protect me. You see that she said that. She directly correlated a man crying to her not feeling protected. Now, you can go back to the caveman days or anything primal during a time where they had warlords and things of that nature, and it'll show you that, protection from a man is essential to a woman's survival in those much more harsh and violent times. That's just what it was. So that's something that is just in their genetic makeup. It's just there. Now, the issue with all of this is it's really messed up that men can't just be human. It's really messed up that men just can't show emotion, be vulnerable, really let out their feelings and stuff like that. And we really, have to be these hardened creatures that, like, we're not just naturally set to be. Like, we're just not naturally supposed to be that, you know. You have to, if we were naturally supposed to be that, then men wouldn't have to be hardened. I watched something the other day where they said they, in tribes, they harden guys in different ways, man. A guy had to you have to stick your hands in these gloves with spikes for some tribe. And you have to do it in your teen years, every single day until you're able to do it without shedding a tear. And why is that in that tribe? Because at the end of the day, the men are the ones who bring home the bacon. The men are the ones who protect the village. The men are the ones who go out and hunt. Hunting is dangerous. They're hunting unforgivable or unforgiving wild animals who, if they make a mistake, will kill and maul them. And they need to make sure that these guys that are going out with the other men who are already hardened won't fuck up what they got going, won't be a detriment to them, won't get them killed. So think about that. If that has to be done on a tribal level, then it's not just something that just comes to you. We are not natural predators. You think that we are natural predators as much as we as humans, especially men, unalive other people and unalive other species, but we're not natural predators. We breed ourselves into predators. We train ourselves into harder men, and even in some cases, as a community, we cultivate a culture that hardens men. And you see the reason for that. I've went over multiple reasons for that and how it even pertains to women. And the craziest part about it is, even with the culture, and it's not just an American culture. Again, this is a worldwide global thing as far as what a man has to be for society to move forward, for the world to be what it is, for everybody to be safe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's, women don't truly understand the responsibilities the lay on men's shoulders. They really don't understand it. And that's why it's not just messed up as far as, just women and how they feel and, how she feels unprotected and things like that. When we talk about the human aspect, even other men, it's funny, even other men don't give a fuck how other men feel because some other men have calloused that part of themselves to have that empathy. As a guy who actually shows empathy to other men and like has empathy in him, I've noticed that a lot of people, as far as a lot of men, don't have the capability of empathy. That's just what it is. Some do. In matter of fact, I won't even say that. I'll just say towards other men because they have it towards women. They have it towards women. Now we're going to go over the last part where the woman said, I think men should be vulnerable when they're going through something. Let's unpack that very quickly. So you heard everything I already said. I personally look at that as a trap. And I personally look at that as this woman, more than likely, even though I don't know her from a can of paint, is unaware of herself. Because we've all seen this before. We've all seen all these men. Because people like to say, because I'm going to just say it now, a woman will throw what you give her back in your face at a different time when she's emotionally charged, when she's trying to dig at you and stuff like that. They will give, they take what you give them and use it against you. Now, what I was going to say is women will hear stuff like that and say, oh, that's just your personal experience and da da da. Why, no matter where you go on the internet, I mean, you could go anywhere on the internet that men are, and there are tons of men wherever you go with this experience. And it's like, these are men none of us have met, none of us know. These are all just men all over the internet. And even then, some of them you actually work with. Some of them have never even been on any of these forums, YouTube or nothing. It's just a widespread thing because this is what women actually do. Now, understand I did just say it's messed up that men can't be human, and here you have a woman saying that men should basically be human. But at the end of the day, we have to face the realities. Something that women really don't like to do, because I had a comment on one of my other videos and the chick was mad that I actually told how things are instead of just giving my opinion. Some of them just really hate facts. And that's how come when it comes to this, like, oh, is it a man? Is it a woman stuff? When it comes to that type of stuff, it's feelings over facts. That's why men are using women's bathrooms, because of women, heterosexual women. But like I was saying, we have to face the realities. And the reality is that women feel, and then when women feel, women think, and when women think, women do. That's just what it is. That's the order of things. And even as far as the do may come at a different time, because again, women feel, so okay, she felt kind of empathetic back then, but now she feels angry. Now she feels angry. So now women think, what does she think? She thinks about that vulnerable shit that you told her, because she feels like you were hurting her. So she wants to fucking hurt you back. And then women do. They fucking hit you and they stab you with that fucking sensitive information you gave them. They twist a knife, and now, your grandma's a bitch or whatever, whatever the fuck she want to say. So while I appreciate the sentiment and I appreciate the effort, what has to happen is the track record of women has to change. There has to be a lot of actual women who, and a lot of guys who could say, man, I've confided in my woman before and she never threw it back in my face and she's really my rock. But this is the other thing. and I end it soon, man. You know, when you go to a therapist, this is what happens. You go there, you talk about what's going on, you complain. They don't have a limit on the input that you could give them. And it's messed up because you got to pay, but there's no limit on how many complaints you can make. The thing about venting to women and even sometimes people in some cases is they can only take so much. They can only take so much. And even in that so much, sometimes is a very low threshold. So when you start complaining, it's like, you'll hear women say stuff when you have conversations like this about men being able to vent. And it's like, okay, a little bit is cool, but, if you keep doing it or you do it 3 times or anything like that, and it's about the same thing or it's about your job, now we got to start looking at solutions and stuff. You know why? Because they hate that shit. They hated it the first time you did it. They didn't hate it the third time you did it. They just got annoyed, very severely annoyed the third time you did it. But the first time you did it, they felt what they felt, and they didn't like it. So I think a lot of this, like, men need to open up shit is disingenuous. It sounds good. But at the end of the day, again, women feel, women think, women react. And when it comes to that, I don't expect them to fight against a feeling. I don't expect women to get better in that regard. And if we're being honest, in America especially, I don't really expect women to get better in any regard because the trajectory has been going down. We've been sinking further and further into degeneracy and misandry. And I think it's only going to get stronger. I don't know what's going to turn it around. I don't think it's possible to turn it around. That's all.